Cold calling is dead. Apple is killing it. And you know what? Many of us are going to be out of a job. It's doom. It's the end. Well, I don't believe so at all. In actuality, I feel that this is a revolution that we knew was coming. And those who were prepared and continue to prepare will be able to survive. And those who want to continue to do the old way, well, it was nice knowing you. Here's what I think we need to do and how we can go about changing it to make sure that we stay effective, even if Apple is trying to kill cold calls. Check it out. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist Podcast. I'm your host, Donald C. Kelly, the Sales Evangelist. And I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm so excited to be here with you today. And on this episode, I came with my notes. I came prepared because I've been waiting to do this episode. I was going to push it out another week. But as you heard on the end of the last episode, that rerun, I talked about doing this one because I really felt that I needed to get it out timely for you. Now, if this is your first time listening to our podcast, go ahead and do yourself a favor, subscribe, because I'm going to make sure you get updated, notified every time we drop a new piece of content. And everything that we share is around Apple, helping you to improve your sales game. Now, in this episode specifically, I'm tackling Apple, iOS 26. Now, this is the new changes called call screening. If you don't know what that is, I gave you homework from the last episode to listen to it, but you can go ahead and find it. But check out this clip as it explains Apple call screening. Craziness.
We're also introducing a new way to help eliminate distractions like unwanted calls, which can get in the way of picking up the important calls we're waiting for. Now, when you receive a call from an unknown number, call screening helps you quickly gauge whether it's something important or just another pesky telemarketer. Building on live voicemail, call screening automatically answers calls from unknown numbers, silently in the background. Once the caller shares their name and the reason for their call, your phone rings, and you can view their response and pick up or ignore.
Hi. No, hold on. I'll be down at the gate in a sec.
We have another great experience to help you on your least favorite kind of call, one where you're put on hold.
That's wicked cool. I mean, I'm telling you, from the consumer standpoint, I'm like, yes, and yes. And then from the seller standpoint, I'm like, no, and no. What are we going to do? And I don't think it's the end. I honestly don't think it's the end. And I'm going to tell you what I feel is happening. Now, I can't tell you these are the ways to fix it because none of us have used it yet. It's not even out for all of us to use yet. But it's from what they've shared and from what my experience tell me working with teams, coaching sellers, going in organization, working with my own organization, and seeing the patterns, seeing the things that are wrong with cold calling, I feel that this is really going to help us out. And then history is on our side too. If you think about it, like, I don't know if some of you don't remember this, but back in the days, there was people used to call you on your home phone at nighttime at 6 o'clock, because I used to do this, when people are having dinner, and they used to interrupt them. You didn't have caller ID, so you didn't know. So you're just picking up, answering a call because you think it may be your mom or someone. But all of a sudden, it's this guy trying to get you to go to a timeshare presentation. This guy, and some of us accepted those calls. But then there is this idea of the call registry and blocking people, and the telemarketers couldn't do that anymore. And that stopped it because you would get in huge trouble and have fines. We had caller IDs, so people saw who was calling, and that was another issue. But we figured out a way to get around that. And then we've seen other things that came about that seemed like it was a death of cold outreach. We're getting rid of the home phones, and we're also using cell phone more. And we found ways to get around all of that. What I'm trying to get at is that no matter what difficulty there is, human beings, we're like water. We're going to find a way to get through, to get around, to get over. We're going to go in the cracks, freeze, and expand. If we get boiled, we're going to turn into steam and evaporate, and we're going to come back another way. Like, you just can't get rid of it. And I don't think you can get rid of cold call. I don't think you get rid of cold salespeople. I think the way we go about doing it has to evolve. And this is heaven sent, because the way we've been doing it is just plain ludicrous. And especially when the age of AI, we find that just put on more gas on the fire and just make it go faster and more. But when it came to cold outreach, we saw phone calls in the house. Since we couldn't do that at all anymore, it's not that all of a sudden companies stopped doing sales. They just pivoted. We saw the rise of social media, and we saw how we could get ads, and we saw how we get in front of people, and then we found a different path into that, and then that led to the conversation. Am I saying that's exactly what's going to happen here? No, I don't know, but the privacy component is improving, is increasing. Google over the past several years, Yahoo have been pushing back against the spamming emails, and we're now seeing that come with the phone. It is an evolution, and we just need to be there ready for it. There's a revolution as well with this evolution, and this is how I feel we can tackle it. So first one, sellers are going to go and do, I feel that there are people who are going to stay, they're going to do something. And the first thing I find that will happen is, one, people will stay doing the same old, same old. They'll feel like it doesn't necessarily hit me. It's not pertaining to me. They're going to be the laggers, so to speak, and they take a long time to change. And they're not going to just keep doing what they're doing, not going to make any change. And you can't survive. So you got to fix that. Two, you're going to find people who stop cold outreach. They're going to figure just stop altogether. And they're going to feel depressed and feel like none of my calls are getting through and I can't make this happen. So I'm going to give up. And then you're going to find people who will just increase the output, put more in an auto dialer. They're going to do more outreach. Because if they can get more, there's a chance of one of them slipping through or somebody answering a call. The phone number may look familiar or whatever it might be, but they'll find people that will get that, the slip through. And then you'll find that there are AI tools. People will take advantage of that so that maybe they'll just do more, improve with AI tools and just do more outreach. Just maybe we'll get some Autobots, so to speak. Autobots, it sounds like a good name for a movie, or characters in a movie. But they'll probably get more bots to take part in their efforts. And I think that's what we'll initially start to see with folks. But I think there's another group that we're going to find. We're going to find people who actually pivot and they're going to adjust. And here's one thing that you'll find. I think this one isn't too awful, but I think you'll find that people will do it. And that's parallel dialing. And what this consists of, you don't know what parallel dialing, I'll pop it up here on the screen. It's essentially when you're making 3-4 calls at the exact same time. And when one of them pick up, you take that call. So I have my list and it's uploaded, and there are different tools out there and some really reputable companies that have tools, but you make, it dials 3 or 4 numbers at the same time. The one that picks up, it actually connects me to that. And then the other ones, it goes to an automated, like a voicemail or something to that nature. But in that, it gives me the opportunity now to have more shots on goal and a chance of actually getting through to someone. Some of them have their nuances because it will have a delay before you pick up, and you've seen those before, where somebody calls and it's like this, you're waiting for them to answer, and they finally answer because they're not prepared, they're not ready. It's just a call that came through, and I think that's one of the negative things behind it. So you're going to find people who take advantage of tools, but here's what I recommend. Here's what I think we should be doing in this day and age. Number one, be relevant, baby. Some of you knew I was going to get to that. Be relevant. Let me explain that feature again. If you go back and see what it says, let's rewind that piece about what the call screening does. Rewind that. Stop.
Once the caller shares their name and the reason for their call, your phone rings. And you can view their response and pick up or ignore.
Right there, the call screening will allow for the individual to be able to talk to the automated voice, whatever Siri or AI tool, and to tell them why they're calling, as well as to share their information. Now, you could do the same dumb things that we've done in the past with voicemail. This is Donald with Blue Mango Studios, and want to give you a call about our services. Leave a phone, and here's my phone number. That's not going to work. But there are people who are going to take advantage of this and to get really creative. And I'm just telling you, think outside the box. Go back to the days, like imagine if you said something like ridiculously funny on that call screening component. The person's going to get it. They're going to listen to it, or they're going to see the text and they're going to laugh. Go back to, and some of you don't know this, but 1-800-COLLECT. Back in the days, and I want to play a piece of that ad here. There was the dad's at the hospital with his wife, and they had a baby, and then they're calling 1-800, calling collect home. If you don't know what that is, you used to pay for collect calls. Like you call a number, and then they connect you to the line that you're going to, and you paid the person receiving the call would pay for that collect call. But the person, the dad, said something to the grandpa, and here it is. Check it out.
Operator, I'd like to make a collect call, please. First name Bob, last name is We Oughta Baby Eats a Boy.
Hello?
Collect call for Mr. Bob. We oughta baby eats a boy.
Sorry, wrong number.
Who's that, dear?
Bob, they had a baby. It's a boy.
Now that was really funny, and some of us have done that before. Like, "Mom, I'm ready. Pick me up." And that's what they played to the automated component played to the person receiving. So mom would say, "Yeah, no, I'm not interested, not taking a call," but then she knows that I'm ready to get picked up. I didn't do that, but it's just people just got creative and they got funny, and it was just it was. I feel like they're going to find ways to game the system. The other component of it, just think about how you can make something funny to that person. Like if you have a funny personality, maybe you could say a joke or do something something witty that they will read on that recap or that summary and say, you know what, I'll connect back with this person or I'll answer it. And then there are people who are going to give some really relevant stuff. Like I know if I'm going to pick up a call that's screened, the only reason I'm going to pick it up because it's super relevant to me and towards what I am doing or to a problem that I have. Or maybe, you know, again, I'm in my office and all of a sudden I get a phone call saying something. Let's just hear me out. If somebody tells me like, you know, something, I don't know if I'm expecting, like in the example in the video, you're expecting a delivery. Yeah, that's pretty relevant. That's something that I know about. So I'm going to take that. Can I make the person that don't know me kind of feel like they know me? And this is what we call the point of reference. So I feel the way we can do this is going back to like LinkedIn. Can I get access to that individual prior to making a phone call to them? And it's going to require work on your part as a seller. So I may connect with this, find something on LinkedIn before I reach out to these prospects. And this is what that we teach in our program all the time. Find something relevant that you can get connected to, because this person is not going to connect with a stranger. They're going to connect with somebody they feel that they know. Start engagement on LinkedIn as much as possible. And you do this before you hit up your focus list. So I might see that the person has a post, and that's how I do my stuff. I go use Navigator. I find people that are posting content, people new in their positions. And then I use those triggers to be able to help me to start a dialogue with that person and send out my connection request. They accept it. And I can use that to leverage an opportunity when I make the phone call. So now go back to the phone call. It's Donald from LinkedIn. I saw you at the I saw you. Sure, you shared something about the conference, XYZ, and I thought of something to tie back. They know me as well. I'm just making this stuff up right now, but at least I found in my conversation with people, they link back to their memory and to that engagement that I had because I made it memorable on LinkedIn. And that usually gets me to have conversation. And similar things can happen, but let's give it a more effective one, something that you can probably test out and try. Let's perhaps say that this person is hiring new sellers for their organization and they reshared a post. I might comment on that post and engage on that post. And then when I do my phone call, I will share something, this is, hey, I saw that we connected on LinkedIn about the job requirement. I have 3 people that I want to recommend to you to see if they could fit for that position. Wanted to take 2 minutes to explain that. But now I'm bringing something ultra relevant to them because I know that they're hiring and they're the person that's over the sales department, and I'm bringing individuals to the table. That may be relevant to them because if anyone know anything about hiring, you're trying to fill those positions, you're going to take that. I'm not saying we're calling people at dinner time, like in the example, but we're calling people in a workday. And when they see that stuff, this is a problem that they have. Let's fix it. If there's another problem the organization has they're trying to tackle right now, I can get help with that. I can also this is another strategy I found to work, is that I call into the organization to a lower level individual, a sales reps per se, and find out some of the challenges going on with their team or issues that they have. One example was one organization I connected with on LinkedIn. They weren't using sales. They had Sales Navigator, but then I asked the seller and they said, yeah, they have had no training on Sales Navigator. And it was, they have access to it. But leveraging that information from a lower end individual on not the decision maker screen, a chart, but that information was able to help me as I reached out to upper management. Think about the same thing when you're leaving that message to that prospect. Now it's ultra relevant. I know you guys you have X amount of reps on your team and spending X amount with Navigator. Here's one of the things that James mentioned that is hindering him. And I know you guys are trying to get upstream and try to get to enterprise level organization. They don't know how to use Navigator. And I had there's 3 ideas I wanted to share with you that can help you out. But now I'm leaving something that's relevant to that person. There's a higher chance that person's going to pick up that call. with the new tool. The point is, we just have to come to the table with a little bit more prepared. And you might say, well, Donald, well, I need to make hundreds of calls per day. It's going to be ultra difficult for me to do that. Well, you can, that's what I'm telling you, the old model is broken. And that's what we're trying to point out. That old model, you made hundreds of calls and you probably got like two conversations or three conversations. How many of those actually turn into appointments? Maybe you got one here and there, and then you get your 3 for the week, and fantastic. But the game is changing. So what I'm recommending is you go back to being more prepared, share more relevant information. I'd rather have you have 10 conversations, and then of those 10 conversations that you have, three of them could actually, turn into legitimate stuff, and you may get one or two appointment. I feel that's what's going to happen, and it's a higher quality focus rather than the quantity. I get it. I know you might say this is it's different, a change in the game, and of course it is. But this is the way we are seeing evolution. Again, technology is going to be out there. Maybe you do more parallel dialing, and you maybe do a lot of use AI to do some preparation about these individuals before the parallel dialing, and you may be able to get some things with that. But the key is that you have to be relevant, or you're going to be super funny, or you're going to be super creative. I just don't want you to go and lie and make something up like, "Hey, it's from your kid's school," something like that. Don't do that. That's not ethical. But the relevant component is going to be critical. Number 3, LinkedIn. I started hitting on this already, but I feel that this is where immediately people are going to run to LinkedIn because they don't have to change anything right now if they go to LinkedIn, and you could just increase your spamming. What I mean by this is now I'm going to send out way more messages, or I'm going to send out way more in-mail, because that doesn't change with this new call screening. It's just the next easiest path for me to go, besides sending out ratcheting up my emails and getting more email boxes. And again, I'm not opposed to that, but we use multiple email boxes when we're doing our outreach, our focus campaigns, and so forth. But I can see that people are going to go to those two spots immediately because they're easy. But the key is, yes, you utilize those tools, but don't, please, for the love of everything that's holy, don't just go out and become another spammer, because then it ruins it. And they're going to make changes on LinkedIn, and they're going to make changes with email further, and then it just ruins everything for us. But I get it. You're going to have needs. Your manager is telling you need to get pipe, or your board is telling you need to build a pipe. So you're going to do whatever you can. And it's just to get the end result, and it's the fastest way to the bottom. We're just fighting the quickest way to get to the bottom, like when you do price wars. Just horrible. But when it comes to LinkedIn, here's what I would tell you to do: is just look for ways to get engagement from the jump. If you can get engagement with people, I know you're gonna have better conversations. One prospecting strategy that I recommend is when you connect you do personalized connection requests to someone. And for those who are in a different camp, by all means, do whatever you want. But I recommend if you do a connection request, that's not something dumb like I'd want to add you to my professional network, but actually share something that's relevant based on things they're sharing, you're going to find that you get engagement. I focus on engagement. Engagement leads to conversation. Conversation leads to opportunity. But when I get that, people accept my connection request. And what I do is I send them a video message, not pitching anything. Please don't pitch it. But all I'm doing in that video message is saying something like, "Hey, Daryl, wanted to put a face with a name. Hope you're having a happy Sunday. And happy Father's Day. Today's Father's Day when I'm recording this content. So you might say something to that nature, and whatever, but it's not pushing anything. Or, Daryl, saw that you guys are going to a, Microsoft World or whatever conference. See, you're going to be at Inbound. Look forward to connect, hopefully seeing you guys there or whatnot. And again, this is maybe a stuff that they post, or Daryl wanted to put a face with the name, man, and has nothing to do with work. Saw that you're in Albuquerque, went through there once, got stuck in a snowstorm. I had no clue it snowed in Albuquerque. Anyways, look forward to seeing you in the feed here on LinkedIn. But all I'm doing is just being a human being. That is going to cause him to be able to give some kind of engagement. And that engagement is what I utilize and bridge when I make my phone calls or when I send my emails. Plain and simple. I think there's better things you can do. And if you want to get more information about that, you can hit me up or go to thesalesevangelist.com/LinkedIn to learn more about our LinkedIn program. More tools are going to come out, which is the fourth part that I want to the last piece I want to tell you. More tools are going to come out. We're going to see people evolve. We're going to see people create more tools like parallel dialing, and they're going to become better. We're going to find more AI capabilities. And you know what? Maybe this is just where you get kicked out of the game altogether as a seller. And you're going to find more AI tools that can just make a couple thousand calls in a day or in a minute, and they'll be able to handle that together. Maybe AI and AI will work together. I'm just trying to give you an understanding that they're whenever we find problems, we're going to find solutions. It may not be the solution you want. However, sales is going to still be there, and they're going to still need great sellers like you in that process. It's just maybe at the early onset is that they figure out ways to get around it. Maybe it's going to be tools where companies can just go and do searches a little bit better and find opportunities. I don't know, but I'm just speaking off the cuff here, and maybe there are going to be ways that they can break through the call screening. Maybe there are technologies and tools that can get around that, and you sneak in and you get into their they get them to answer your call. I have no clue, and maybe I'm giving ideas to people, but technology is going to increase, and we're going to see more tools that come onto the market around it. But I feel no matter what the key is, the most important thing is that we have to be relevant. We have to be relevant. This is an opportunity for us in our industry to be relevant. Let's change the game. Listen to me. Let's make sure that when we're connecting to people, we actually connect on real problems that they have. This requires you to do the research, and it does limit the number of outreach that you do, but they're going to be so much more quality. And that is where I feel the game's going to change. Introductions, let's go to some old school stuff. Conferences are going to be another huge component. You can go to conferences and get yourself introduced to other people, or perhaps you can go to get introduced to others based on taking advantage of LinkedIn tools, maybe referrals, asking your clients for referrals. There's so many other ways that we can do this, and I just know the game is going to evolve, and the relevant individuals are going to be the one that rise to the top. Let me know what you think about this episode. Let me know if you feel that Apple is really going to kill everything, then go ahead and let me know that as well in the comments. But I feel that the relevant sellers are going to rise to the top, and those who are creative are going to find some pretty slick stuff to get through, get people to pick up those calls. This is an opportunity. Let's get creative and let's make things happen. I want you to thrive. I want you to succeed. I want you to raise the level of thinking, but most importantly, I want you to go out and do big things. See you on the next one.